Hello, today I'm here in Rome with Maria Pia. Maria Pia is a managing director of Alma Resorts. If we can start, give us an overview about your role and about Alma Resorts as well, please.
I am the managing director of Alma Resorts and Spa, which is the resorts brand of HNH Hospitality, which is a white label operator based in Italy. What we do effectively as HNH Hospitality, we manage hotels under franchise agreements with the major international hotel chains. We currently have close to 20 in operations, another 3 under development in the next couple of years. But within this total number, that we also have 3 resorts, effectively 3 Alma resorts, one in Sicily, one in Mazzara del Vallo, Alma Giardino di Costanza, one in Sardinia, Alma Timiama, and one in Jesolo, nearby Venice, Alma Lido. Indeed, in Jesolo. In my role, in my current role, I am responsible of 3 things effectively. The strategy of Alma. So whilst the resorts already exist, have been existing for several years, they've been running through, I would say, a more independent strategy effectively. The role I have is to make sure that we go on the one way of doing things. We have the same vision, the same mission, we share the same personality, and I'm currently working also on the brand standards. On top of this, on the strategic aspect, there is also an operational side of it. And finally, I'm responsible for growing it. So there is also a growth aspect, which is a little bit familiar with what I'm used to based on my background.
When you are looking for new opportunities for Alma Resorts, which characteristics stands out today for you?
Our resorts, whenever we look for new opportunities, we want to make sure that this new resort that we're opening shares, like the others, a sense of place. It's a pillar for our resort. Sense of place, what do I mean? The resort is rooted into the territory, into the place where it's located. And then it means that it incorporates in whatever we do aspects of the culture, of the local heritage, the connection with the nature. There is an aspect, the nature aspect is very important. It's for us, it's essential to find an opportunity which is surrounded by natural beauty. And as I said, that has strong traditions that we can also include, like welcome into our resort. And then, of course, connectivity is important. So possibly we would want to be no more than 1 hour away, 1 hour by car from the airport, from a major airport, because clearly we have to make sure that people have the possibility to come easily to where we are. And then in general, in terms of facilities, let's say that it's if it's an existing property or even if it's a new development, which we are open to both, it has to have certain requisites for our resort brand to come to life. And one of these pillars is surely an adequate space for our spa. We have a spa called Alma Blue Spa. So in every resort, wherever the resort is, we are replicating the same concept called 4R concept. So for all resorts, it's always the same. And wherever we go, so we need to find a space which is definitely above 1,000 square meters. Our spas so far are around 2,000 square meters, so quite of a remarkable amount of space for this specific outlet, because for us, the aspect of well-being is another key distinctive point, together with the sense of place I was referring to earlier.
And in terms of location, there is any specific location that is your favorite or less favorite as well?
Yeah, for sure. So the locations we have at the moment are technically 2 of them are seaside destinations, Sardinia and Jesolo. They have a direct access to the beach. Sicily, it's officially a country resort in the sense that it's not directly located on the seaside, but it's only 15 minutes by our internal transfer. But in that specific case, what are our unique experiences that people can have is for sure the spa, which over 2,000 square meters of spa, which we renovated last year, and it's this beautiful mix between the 2, I would say, identities of Sicily, which are the Norman side and the Ottoman side. So the spa actually has these 2 different distinctive areas which you can absolutely feel in the space whenever you move. So that is one of the experiences. And on top of that is everything else is about the concept of well-being. So you have a pagoda in there in the middle of a huge green area where people do yoga or they do meditation. You have like a big extensive field of olive trees, and actually we just finished picking up olives. And the next thing, for example, from our own trees, and the next thing we're going to do with these olives is to create our own oil, which we will serve on, on the tables where people come, just to also stress out the importance for us of the connection, to the place where we are located. This is, as I said before, an absolutely essential aspect, which we also, for example, replicate by making sure that whilst the purchasing is done from the centralized office, when it comes particularly to resorts, we do this in HNH in general, but when it comes to resorts, there is a higher percentage of local products that we buy from local producers, because we understand this is an important requirement for our guests. And also to emphasize, to stress out, to be real when we say, we want to connect to the community. We want to connect to the local producers, and we want to serve and we want to give you what's really from this part of Italy in this specific case, although hopefully we can expand further. In addition to these, we're looking for more opportunities in the mountains. This is, I guess, it's become quite of a hot destination topic right now, right? Because we know that the mountains are not a destination just for winter, which clearly is very good for your staff, because clearly many people ask us, okay, I would love to work more this 8 months, 6 to 8, 9 months in summer. I wish I could actually be working full time. So it could allow you to really use your workforce like 12 months or all year round. So that's great. But at the same time, even if that was not possible, let's say, the mountains, because of what's happening, also climate change and people's needs and the trend of coolcation, people looking for cooler destinations, in reality, they allow you for way longer season. And this, of course, helps you particularly with the workforce. So the mountains, clearly the Dolomites is a strong focus of ours. And then finally, the lakes. Major lakes. We're looking at something on Lake Garda, Lake Maggiore. Particularly, of course, if something amazing comes from Lake Como to manage, clearly. But might be more challenging at the moment, I suppose. And then also outside of Italy, possibly, clearly where we have an advantage. So we're not going to look as the first thing at a country where there are strong, skilled operators, because as new kids of the block, probably we wouldn't be first choice. Comes to mind Spain. So we're not going to look at that, because I do believe there are some very good operators there. But I would expect that we would have our background, our track record would have more chances to shine and to win in parts of Europe like the Balkans, for example.
How do you balance the high-end guest expectation with a sustainable hospitality experience?
You touched there upon our third pillar, because I mentioned before a sense of place, then I also mentioned well-being. Well, the third pillar is actually, which is in fairness the first one, but let's say it's responsible luxury. That's, in other words, the space where we want to operate. And that sense of responsibility is wide and touches many different points. So responsibility towards the community to start with, and the community in a wider sense. First of all, the workforce. So being responsible towards the community for us, for example, means that now we are finally engaged at a company level, actually, in a project to address to the employees, to really revisit the life cycle of the employee, from when they enter to when, and that means with the onboarding to during, the training, and particularly for the resorts, for example, because of the season and the fact that they're seasonal, we actually started with the offboarding, because that's actually, it's important. Now you say goodbye to somebody, it's absolutely important to make sure that they come back the following season. And there was also a way for us to finally, officially, formally hear them, to let them understand we care, we want to hear the feedback, we want to implement the feedback. And then, of course, also to create a database of people that we want, that, for example, that their managers approve, and also for example, some of the questions we asked them, because they were all interviews that they were run by the staff, the managers of the various departments, towards their team. So quite of a wide project, actually. So I'm very grateful for all my colleagues who took the lead on this. And the idea was to also understand, for example, who wanted to come back, who wanted to work more than the season in the resort. So you really have all of a sudden a huge, amazing database of your workforce, and so that you can serve them better. It goes also to create, for example, which is obvious but most of the time it's not done, to create career projections, career trajectories. Or now we are also, for example, working on the topic of staff houses. That's another issue, especially when you are in resorts or in remote destinations. And how do you attract talent? Of course, you have to let them understand that you listen to them, that you have a plan for their career, and that you're also placing them in places which are, where they can be comfortable. We are hiring, for example, chefs for specifically for the workforce. So not just the chef which is usually different from the chef, for guests. So taking different actions towards the workforce. And that's, for example, the community. Then it's the place, and that is the local community, right? And then I was saying before, for example, these partnerships with the artisans of the area. We bring traditions into the resorts. We have, for example, in Sicily, we had some people who came, some producers of wine who came into the resort, and we had people who were giving new life to the fish nets, that broken fish nets that they could not use anymore, and then they were converted into objects by the local artisans. So we bring all this, and so that's the place, the connection to the place is back to this concept of responsibility. And then the third point of reference when we speak about responsible luxury is also clearly the environment. And when it comes to the environment, we do different things. At a company level, for example, we use 100% of renewable energy.
Wow, 100%.
Yeah, 100% of energy we use is renewable. So that's I think quite remarkable. Most of our hotels in HNH portfolio have over 90% of them have a Green Key certification. And now with the Alma resorts, we're going also the next step up, because we are working towards the GSTC certification, which is complex established green certification in the hospitality space, and not only. And we want to be there. Not just saying it, but acting with real change.
Is there anything else in terms of guest journey that you believe that still have a room to innovate, and how you are addressing this at Almar?
I think on top of all the things we're doing to better empower the staff, to, as I was saying to you also initially, working on the brand standards, service brand standards, to make sure that our actions being extremely personalized, they're also standardized, We're working on these things which are front line, I would say, that visible, but we are also doing things which are in the back end. What does it mean? So we are working, for example, we're going through an technological evolution. So first of all, we are changing the way we do reservations. We now have 2 physical offices, for example, but what was happening until recently is that the various offices were actually taking, this is in general for HNH, but let's say particularly for Alma now referring. So what we were doing, we were effectively through these offices having people booking just that resort. So being expert of just that resort. Whereas what is essential now is that we made sure that people travel to different resorts, that they can all get familiar with what's available. They can all book the various resorts, but thanks to also technological boost. So we are effectively having a system which allows us, whilst doing reservation, by using AI to better assist people, because it helps us win in that dialogue. It helps us anticipating the questions, and therefore giving the right answer, and so forth, so that we can manage to create the best proposal for what they're looking for. So that's a type of technological innovation. But we also implemented a CRM system, so a customer relationship management system, which basically allows us to do upselling, and by just better understanding what the needs of the people are, having them written down in a document, in a software, which allows us to tailor-made, to send customized proposals, for example, offers, just because we were able to collect the preferences beforehand. And then on top, thanks to this, we then managed to send various surveys pre-stay, during the stay, and then after stay, to, as I said, customize your marketing actions, your sales actions, but also be able, in reality, by doing that, to better assist your customers. And that level of hyper-personalization is surely needed at the luxury level.
And how does GRI support you on your development and investment agenda?
Greatly, I would say. So thank you. It's been really nice and fun to be a member, of GRI. For me, it's always good to understand, being at the moment an operational partner. It's important to listen to what investors are talking about, what their requirements are. Specifically, in my case, when it comes to appetite towards resorts, where, why, what type, so that we can better understand who we should be talking to. And then, of course, it's also good to understand what kind of deal structures are available, because these days you must be creative in the way you do things. Fun to hear about trends and new things coming up. So from other operators, most of the times, that's of course that's where the creative part is within the GRI community. And in general, I love the fact that you guys are very proactive in suggesting who each of us should speak to, arranging one-to-one meetings, and also, by the way, site visits. Yesterday was a very, very, very fun day, very entertaining, very insightful, and things. The idea is that you do things that you wouldn't necessarily coordinate and arrange yourself, and it's all nice and packaged for you. I love that.